everyone, and welcome back. I've got some exciting stuff to talk about today. I'm going to be doing a little bit of my reaction and some things about Star Trek. The new Picard Star Trek trailer, which is, in a sense, a continuation of Picard's story from Next Generation, as well as things I saw in the trailer, things I'm excited about, and just chatting with you guys a little bit about Star Trek. I'm a big Star Trek fan, always have been. I was raised growing up with my dad taking me to see the Kirk movies with obviously Captain Kirk and William Shatner as Captain Kirk growing up, and Leonard Nimoy as, you know, obviously Spock. And that was a big deal. I loved those growing up. My dad took me to those, and I have special memories for those. But as I got older, I got into obviously Next Generation and things like that. My parents would watch it, and I'd watch it with them, and it always got my imagination going. Well, this I am extremely excited about. I can't be more excited. When I saw this trailer, it blew me away. I never thought they'd ever come back. I mean, for years and years and years, they said they'd never continue the story, that it was done, Next Generation was done, Picard was done, Data was done, all the stories were done. And a lot of the actors said they never returned. So this was a big deal that they convinced the actors to come back and to play their original roles. Was, I mean, to me, mind-blowing, because, I mean, for the last, I mean, it's been 20 years almost, I think they said. For 20 years, they said they'd never come back and do it again. Then I'm really excited about this. I know this is different than what I normally do, but I really was so excited about this, I just want to talk to you guys about it and share. So, first thing we got was the poster here. And this poster was basically just, you know, it was kind of a prelude to, we kind of got an idea of where they're going with this series. And it basically was Star Trek Picard and showed Patrick Stewart's name on the top here. But what's interesting is it's the vineyard that ends from, and most of you, if you've watched The Next Generation, you know the final episode of the original series that was on TV, All Good Things, it references Picard growing old and going back to the vineyard that his family had, and doing the wine and the grapes and all of that. So it references that. The poster then references that as well. So we kind of had a hint before that this was going to go back to bringing into all of the things in Next Generation, but we didn't know to the extent till this trailer came out. This trailer, you got to watch it. I hope you've watched it already before watching this, because I'm going to give away a lot of it here. But I wanted to talk about some of these. With Next Generation, it ended and has scenes of, and I'm going to show you some of the Next Generation scenes from All Good Things. It's him walking through the vineyard with like LaForge and things like that, for example, which I venture to say he's going to appear. He's not in the trailer that they released so far, but I would venture to say he's going to appear to tie back into Next Generation and where this story's going. Obviously, Picard's older, which it's been 20 years, like they're saying, so I mean, he has aged. So that fit into the story of All Good Things anyways, which then ties into, obviously, the vineyard, and them going straight from that and showing that they're trying to tie it back to Picard, like you can see here in this photo here. In All Good Things, the Next Generation show, he's shown in the vineyard, which again, then this trailer and the poster takes place starting off in the vineyard. That way they're tying it together is what they're trying to do here. There's little hidden things you're going to see along the way. They're talking about that it's been, 20 years since this. I like how they show his badge that he had. Now, this is not the Next Generation badge. There's little things hidden in here. This badge that it shows him opening is actually the badge that he had when the movie series after Generations, so when that Enterprise was destroyed and then they went into the new Enterprise, then the badge changed in his uniform and so on and so forth. And that personally was my favorite badge and communicator that they used in the Next Generation series, as well as any Star Trek series out there. I absolutely love, and my favorite, you can argue with me all you want, but my favorite all-time Star Trek movie was Star Trek First Contact. Any of the other ones I love, don't get me wrong, but if I had to pick a personal favorite, that one was mine. I loved Picard. I loved the Borg. And I love how that story was intertwined throughout all of Next Generation. And I mean, even Deep Space Nine, the first episode, ties to it. Then you have, obviously, Voyager. The whole series was wrapped around the Borg and how that affected things. And Seven of Nine, which we're going to get to here in a minute. But as you're going along, they do reference all of these things. So we know, based on the trailer, as you'll see here, during the trailer, it shows clips of the Borg cube. And it looks like it's being taken apart, a Borg cube. People are referencing they think it's the Romulans, which it does look like that the Romulans have maybe either captured a Borg cube and are doing things with it. You're going to see along the way in the trailer as well that it talks about, specifically, you'll see like a prison complex. And at first, if you don't pay attention, it goes by so fast, and I'll put a screenshot here of it so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. In that screenshot, if you pause the trailer or you look at that screenshot, it talks about that there hasn't been assimilations in 5,000, I don't know the exact number without looking at it here, but 5,000 something days since an assimilation, which is a big deal because it's showing that if it is the Romulans that have this, they're capturing Borg, doing experiments on them and have them in a facility. And if you look behind in that picture that's right there, if you look behind the guards that are standing there, there's actually Borg recharging stations there. Now, they don't look the same as they used to because, again, I'm assuming this is the Romulans having built a facility and they're experimenting on them, which is why, like I said, it says that there's been 5,000 something days since an assimilation. Something else I want to reference in this trailer that I picked up on several times, which to me is a huge thing. Again, I referenced that I absolutely loved First Contact. You can cause and say, hey, I dislike this, I dislike that, and each person has their own opinion of what their favorite Star Trek movie is that one's mine. And the big thing is you're going to see here, so there's a picture here that I'm going to show you of Picard's uniform and kind of what he had in First Contact. Classic, I loved it. It was very, I guess you could say First Contact was a darker Star Trek film. It was PG-13, and I think that was the first time they'd done a PG-13 Star Trek film, if I remember correctly. And that was a big deal, but I loved it, not because they were, doing a PG-13 movie, but because it explored more or less the effects of what the Borg had done to him and to other people, and it really delved into and showed the emotional side of Star Trek, more so than even some of the Next Generation episodes had ever gotten into, and that's why I really loved it. But you'll see here on his uniform that his uniform has this like gray top piece and then black below with like rivets in it, or whatever you want to call it, like the sewing to kind of make it look ribbed. What's unique is, and I'm going to show you right here too, he's wearing a similar outfit, not exactly the same, but in several of the scenes when it shows him actually leaving to go on to the mission he's on, having to do with this girl that's searching to him for help, which we're assuming she's Borg of some sort, or maybe she escaped from the Romulus facility that was experimenting on her with Borg technology. Maybe she's partially Borg and human and Romulan all combined together. We don't know. But based on that and what we're seeing here, his uniform, if you look at that, looks awfully similar to the uniform here. I really like that harkening back with that like stripe across the top that's like black leatherish, and then down below it's black leather. It's just black cloth, and kind of harken back to what he had in First Contact. I really like that. I thought that was really smart decision. I like how they bring that back into it. I did like how obviously Captain Picard and Gage, I loved that. You'll see that here. It's just, that was a nice harkening back to the series and what he did. Something else I picked up on, and it's been something I've been watching Next Generation again recently. I mean, I love TV shows that are older, and Star Trek's a big thing for me, but the Captain Picard Day, I'm gonna give you a little picture here of it. This actually, somebody has the banner from Captain Picard Day. We don't quite know if this is in his new ship or if he goes into another Enterprise, or he's going to an old Enterprise that's maybe in like a museum and that's stored in there. But they are referencing and trying to show that it's referencing back to episodes in Next Generation. Captain Picard Day is specifically referencing to an episode in Next Generation that had to do with that. I really like that. Then we're gonna get to another big thing here. Obviously, is when 7 of 9 appears. I liked Voyager. I've liked all the Star Trek series, other than I wasn't as big a fan of Discovery. You can love me, you can hate me for that. Everybody has their opinions. So I'm very excited that they're coming back to Picard and Next Generations type series and things like that. But going back to that, so when they show 7 of 9, that was a like mind-blown scene right there. I was like, wow. They're going to incorporate, obviously, Voyager as well into this, which makes sense. You'd have to, since it's a Borg story. But to see her brought back into this, that just makes it so exciting right there, because you're going to have 7 of 9. I believe we're going to have numerous other cast members. They've been talking about it, that there are other cast members from Next Generation that are going to appear. Will Riker, Obviously, number one's going to appear. They've already said that. And I might butcher her name here, but I think it's Mariana Sirtis, who is actually Counselor Troy. And I'm sorry if I butchered her name, but that's how I think it's pronounced. She's going to appear. They have talked about LeVar Burton appearing, and obviously a big one here, and this was a big reveal in the trailer. It shows the parts of Data, that Data died, obviously at the end of Nemesis. If you haven't seen that, I just spoiled it for you. But I'm hoping as a Star Trek fan, if you're watching this video, you've seen that movie. So Data dies, and it's a big thing for basically Brent Spiner. He said he'd never come back and do another Data or do Star Trek again with Data. And so I thought, and I know most fans thought, that we never see a continuation of Data's story. That was it. That was the end. Kind of stunk for an ending, to be honest, but that was it. Now he's back. When they showed his parts in a drawer being pulled out, and you'll see that here, that they're pulling out his parts out of a drawer talking about that he was destroyed. Now, this is probably before the parts they find later on, which aren't the actual Data parts that were destroyed. And they probably have his cybernetic, basically his brain, the chips from his brain that they're probably installing him before and things like that. But when they showed that, I was like, okay, well, they're going to show his parts, but he's not going to be a part of it. And then, as you'll see here, they show him, and he's talking at the end of the trailer with Captain Picard and playing a card game. And Picard's saying, hey, I don't want this to end. And obviously then Data says what he does. But when it showed Data, again, another just mind-blown scene. I was so excited. There's no other way to explain it other than that. What a great trailer. What a way for them to throw that in there. I was thrilled with that when they showed Data as well. And he's another returning cast member, but that they're tying Voyager into this and obviously bringing back not Data, but I think it's before with Data's basically positronic network installed into B4 is my guess is what this is. And the positronic network is trying to basically bring back Data in some way. Whether that works 100% or doesn't work, we'll have to find out. But that's exciting, and that's what I think that is. There is a scene here that it shows with Picard with his badge on from basically the movies after Generations, where it shows, First Contact and Nemesis, things like that. And they show him with his badge on here. We don't know quite what that is, but it does harken back to that. I just loved Captain Picard, and I loved the Next Generation series, and seeing that just kind of warms your heart to see that. Now, I do hope he is involved with the Enterprise throughout the series. I hope somehow he gets control of an Enterprise and he gets to be the captain again or something like that. Would just be like, and maybe I'm dreaming for things that can't happen, but I always think back to Generations when Captain Picard and obviously James T. Kirk met, and he was telling Captain Picard, you never want to lose control, or trying to think of the exact wording, but you don't want to lose your captainship of a ship. You don't want to not be a captain of a ship anymore. Don't let them make you a admiral or something other than control of your ship, because once you do, you'll always wish you had that back. You'll always wish you were back to being captain, not a admiral sitting behind a desk. And so I'm hoping that's what this harkens back to when he's saying that, hey, it's been 20 years. He doesn't want to. He tried to integrate into being in the Vineyard, but the stars are calling him, and I'm hoping he becomes a captain again. It looks like right now he's not, because there's somebody else in charge on that ship. Yes, he says engage, but there's somebody else in the captain's chair, and obviously it doesn't look like a Starfleet vessel. So I'm hoping in some form or sense he ends up being a captain and, again, gets back on the Enterprise. I would love that. A couple other things here. You're going to see at the facility, it looks like they're doing some experiments on Borg. This is one of them at the Romulan facility, it looks like, and then there's another one here showing them doing experiments on the Borg. So it looks like at that facility, they're taking Borg pieces apart or putting them on people. There's one hidden thing at the end that kind of explains what that Borg cube is, and it just flashes this picture for a minute. After the trailer ends and you see Data, there's a brief flash, and it looks like they're taking apart, looks like Romulan ships are taking apart a Borg cube, and they're dissecting this Borg cube. And that's what it flashes for a second. So that's where I kind of feel like the Romulans, and if you remember, the Romulans always had dealings with Picard. I mean, there was episodes where they captured him and tortured him, and then obviously Picard had massive dealings with the Borg. I mean, Locutus and things like that. I mean, you can't forget any of that. And that's where, again, First Contact was such an amazing movie to me. I loved everything about it. So I love that they're harkening back to the Borg. They're bringing in the Romulans and what they're doing with the Borg, it looks like. They're bringing back Data. Now, obviously, we know, like I said, number 1, Will Riker's going to appear. Deanna Troy's going to appear. It does look like, and there have been some references to the cast, and I have a couple of pictures here of the cast getting together recently, that it looks like they may very well be bringing back, like, Worf. And then obviously the Doctor, that she's going to come back, his love interest. They always have this on and off again love interest, which I always like the two of them. But there may be a chance that the rest of the cast, the main cast members, in some way appear in the series that haven't been confirmed yet that we know of. I love having Jerry Ryan in it, that she's back as 7 of 9, and that's tying Voyager together in this, and we may have some guest cast members from Voyager in this as well. And so that's something to be excited about, that they're tying all of these series together that we thought were over and we'd never see again. And any of you that love Star Trek and have grown up with Star Trek and love all the different intricacies of it, you know, that's me. I love Star Trek. I've got every series. I've got all the remastered, plus the DVDs. Anytime they release anything Star Trek, I'm first in line to get it. I am thrilled about Picard here, Star Trek Picard, that they're going to be bringing in all these cast members from the series. The story and the trailer that it shows, I mean, it gave me goosebumps and kind of the chills, as I remembered when I was younger. You know, I was a teenager and my dad took me to see First Contact, and I remember the poster for First Contact was so darn cool. You see that here, like I have a poster of it actually down in my family room. That's how much it's the only movie poster I have on my wall. I love that movie. And that is one of those movie posters that when I saw it as a kid, I was just thrilled because you had the Borg lined up. And this trailer gave me that same feeling. It felt like stepping back 15 years. I think it was 15 years ago when that came out, wasn't it? Well, it's stepping back in time a long time. And being a kid again and remembering, hey, man, when I went to that movie, it was a little scary at the time. Now it's not scary, obviously. But at the time, it was scary because the Borg you thought were scary. And I remember the action in it was great. The humor in it was great. I mean, Picard lost control. He was yelling and angry. And that was great to see that he was human, too. That, you know what? The Borg had gotten to him. And that's what I think this series is going to incorporate, is going back and showing all the things that they didn't really tie up. That, I mean, the Borg are still out there. They haven't been destroyed. I mean, but my thoughts are this trailer was great. I think that they incorporated enough to tease people into, hey, if you're a Star Trek fan, you got to see this series. You gotta be excited about this series. No offense to Discovery, but doesn't hold a candle to this. I mean, in my opinion, this series is the most exciting thing Star Trek's done in the last, got a lot of exciting things as Star Trek fans coming out. I hope you'll join me again next time. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and share. And then also, I hope every one of you has a blessed day.